Good morning. Good to be with you again this morning for a time of short devotion. I don't know about you, but I always loved homemade bread. If you ever have seen me, you know that that's probably right. I have to be careful how much bread I eat because that would really get me. I remember when we had some young missionaries at our house that one of our ladies from the church always baked for the pastor and his wife, and she made us 3 loaves of bread, and the kids were wondering what we were going to eat for lunch, and I told them, we have some special stuff here, and we had 3 loaves of homemade bread and a bowl of butter, and they looked on the table and said, "Is that all we're going to eat?" And I said, "Hey, listen, wait till you start eating it." We consumed those 3 loaves, the 4 of us did, and realized that made a pretty good breakfast. You know, bread and a drink and a little meat was always the diet of many people in the biblical times. Bread was important, unleavened bread and leavened bread. And Jesus talks about a bread that's a special kind of bread. Over in John, the 6th chapter, says, "I assure you, anyone who believes has eternal life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness and they died. This is the bread that comes down from heaven so that anyone may eat of it and not die. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. The bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh." Jesus was talking about the sacrifice that he would make. That would be an eternal sacrifice, and that he would literally be able to promise us a sustenance for the eternity. A Hindu missionary, a Hindu said to a missionary in India, "Sir, I do not want to appear presumptuous, but have you found out that what the Acts of the Apostles records? I see they're a strange power, making weak, ineffective men into strong, effective, radiant men. That seems new and central. Have you found that?" That is the central question we must ask ourselves. We are taken up with so many little and marginal things in church life that we miss the central power. It says, "I am the bread of life that came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever." A group of children on the way to see the ocean got occupied with a pond that one of them had made by blocking the flow of a tiny stream. One little fellow, seeing the ocean in the distance, said, "Come on, Billy, that ain't the ocean. That's only a pond." Sometimes I feel like calling to the thousands of Christians who are gathered around their little denominational pools, thinking them to be the ocean. Come on, brothers and sisters. That isn't the whole thing. Look over there. The ocean awaits us. God's ocean of power and plenty. I'll race you to it. A Christian who gave a Bible to an acquaintance asked him sometime later if he had read it. "Yes," said the man, "and what is more, I have found you out. You are not as good as your book. The book says there is power in human weakness, joy instead of sorrow, victory instead of defeat. But I see little of this in you." What an indictment. Could the same be said of you and me? Are we really, truly eating of the bread of life? Help us to understand where the power comes from. It comes from Christ. In Matthew 28, the last chapter there, he tells us in the Great Commission, "All power and authority has been given unto me. Go ye therefore." How many of us are being as good as our book? How many of us are going? How many of us are sharing the gospel? Gives you something to think about, doesn't it? Well, the next time you make bread, remember, there is a bread that lasts forever, and his name is Jesus. God bless you. Have a good day.